He has in excess of over 60 accounts with hundreds of millions of American dollars in almost all of them. The investigators went a little further, just around the corner, in that DuPont circle, and found out that two of the most expensive properties not far from that bank are owned by Teodoro Obiang. Well locked up and sealed, only paying security guards to just stare at this beautiful mansion. This thing look like a fairy tale story, I'm saying, right?
Yep.
The investigator said that the president and his family has to be in love with the rich and famous, because just across the country, there sits another mansion in the luxurious Beverly Hills area of Los Angeles, which is the home of the prince. Yes, the president's son, Teodoro Jr. You guys remember people talking about Guyana being the fastest growing economy in the world today? It's the same thing they were saying about Equatorial Guinea. They said it would become the fastest growing economy and country on earth. Today, their population, which is twice the size of Guyana, 1.5 million people, is considered the poorest people on earth. And they're still pumping oil today, almost the same amount as Lisa Wan is pumping right now. Equatorial GDP per person is the same as Guyana now. And them oil winding down after 25 years. You hear me, man? Let me repeat. We have the same GDP today. Okay?
Almost to the dollar.
Almost to the dollar. Right? Their people are the worst people on earth. Them oil winding down to nothing. Because they're pumping, just what Lisa Wan pumping. Less than what Lisa Wan pumping right now. 113,000 barrels. We pump 130, 150 barrels per day on Lisa Wan alone. Them one wind down to 113. You hear me? After 25 years. In the next 25 years with ExxonMobil and the rest of them done wine out Guyana, we will be right there with Equatorial Guinea, and we will be branded the same way Equatorial Guinea is branded, as the poorest people on earth. Yes. Should I say anything more? Huh? I want you guys to listen to the documentary and listen carefully. Don't go to bed. It's only a few minutes. For those of you on YouTube and Facebook, click on the link in the comment section and please listen to it. It's there. And please, I beg you, it's, like I said, it's only a couple of minutes. All right? So listen to it. Could you give it to them?
You're listening to us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. It is 12 hours 6. We will return with the rebroadcast of the Glenn Lal Show immediately after your main newscast.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hello, thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith.
And my name is Amrita Koshal.
And this is your main newscast for Thursday, December 2nd, 2021. In our headlines, OGGN tells government hold off on Yellowtail, get your act together. ExxonMobil commits $15 billion to lowering emissions by 2027, but spending 3 times the amount in fossil fuel projects. Mining company general manager runs off with $20 million in gold. Linden contractor in hot water after $11 million retaining wall collapses. And mayor concerned about waste disposal rate at Higgs Bosch. Guyana sees reduction in HIV infections. Discard cut and paste local content bill. Get independent firm to set targets, according to a professor. And in our news update, former finance minister Winston Jordan arrested and called in for questioning based on allegations of misconduct in public office. More information soon.
Win big this Christmas with a Digicel Prime bundle. Over $20 million in prizes to be won. The more you chat, watch, share, and dance to your favorite Digicel apps, the more chances you have to win thousands of Shake to Win prizes, including laptops, tablets, smartphones, cash, data, and credit. Enter to win the grand prize of $5,000 US, a trip for two, or a Samsung Galaxy S21. We are all winners with guaranteed win days. Play along, buy a Prime bundle in My Digicel to stream and win today with Digicel this Christmas.
And now for the news in detail. The government is clearly overwhelmed by the number of oil-related activities it is engaged in, and according to Darshanad Kushial of the Guyana Oil and Gas Governance Network, if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing to do is to stop digging. He made this suggestion in reference to the rush to approve the ExxonMobil-led fourth oil field development in the Stabroek Block, Yellowtail. According to Kushial, the oil companies will exploit this disorganized approach by the government for the benefit of their shareholders. OGGN observed that the government released an article stating that the Stabroek oil block is not up for renegotiation and cited a number of reasons for this position, including the sanctity of contract, the stability clause, and because Exxon lost $22 billion last year.
ExxonMobil was proud to announce to the international market that it is taking action to reduce its emissions output. To achieve this through 2027, the company said it has committed $15 billion in investments that will ensure a balance between projects to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from existing operations and increased investments in its low-carbon solutions business. But even as ExxonMobil says it has set aside a sizable sum to lower emissions output, it has neglected to highlight that it is pumping over $45 billion into massive fossil fuel projects during the same period. These projects are part of the oil-rich Stabroek Block being led by its affiliate ESSO. They include the Liza Phase 1 project, the Liza Phase 2, Payara, Yellowtail, and two more projects similar to the size of Payara. But Stabroek is just one aspect of the fossil fuel agenda of Exxon in Guyana. The oil major is also pursuing 24 wells evenly across the Kaieteur and Kanji blocks, with another 12 exploration wells planned for the Stabroek next.
And now let's tell you, police are on the hunt for the manager of this silver mining company who allegedly threatened to kill his colleagues on Sunday evening before escaping with some 70 ounces of raw gold valued at some $20 million. The suspect, George Vera, a Brazilian national, was in charge of the company's operations at Iquang Bagdam, located along the Cuyuni River. A company official said that they had just completed a 3-week rotation and had extracted gold trapped in its sluice box on Sunday. The 70 ounces of gold that was extracted was stored in a box and locked. Vera was the only one allowed to keep the keys. His colleagues alleged that later that night, Vera waited until the company's 3 security guards left the campsite to make his move. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News.
Guyana needs to immediately discard its cut-and-paste model of its local content bill that has set out requirements and targets, some of which were derived excessively from that of the government of Ghana. So said Executive Director for Latin American and Caribbean, Department of International Business, College of Business, and the University of Miami, Professor Jerry Haar. According to Professor Har, his team was concerned that the targets set out by the Guyana government are derived excessively from that of the government of Ghana. He does not believe that either Ghana's or Nigeria's LCP are the precise model to follow, adding that any model developed has to be based on Guyana's reality and that the assessment needs to be done by an independent party.
In other news, the retaining walls of a major thoroughfare in the Silvertown community of Wismar-Linden collapsed on Tuesday, 2 days after it was constructed by contractor David Sugrim of D&R Construction Company. The 16-feet road was completed on the November 28 to the tune of $11 million. Regional Executive Officer Dwight John said the corrective works will commence immediately, and this should be completed by the end of the week. The contractor said that the wall collapsed as a result of the compaction and the earth's pressure. Regional Chairman Darren Adams, however, called him out for executing substandard work, and this, he said, was observed when the RDC Works Committee inspected the road. Residents also claimed that the project was done hurriedly and that the foundation of the road and drains was not solid enough before the walls were added. The time has now moved on to 12 hours 14. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. We will return after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
It's Christmas at Survival Supermarket this season and every shopper can be a winner. With every $5,000 you spend, you can earn a chance to win our grand prize of one of 2 Nissan Leaf cars or one of 90 fabulous consolation prizes. Shop at any Survival locations and win big this Christmas. The promotion runs from November 16th to December 31st, 2021. Shop Price Smart with Survival for all your shopping needs. See our Facebook page for details.
We now return with your main newscast. Georgetown Mayor Ubraj Narayan has expressed concerns about the rate at which the Hagsbosch landfill site is filling up, even as he called for the government to engage with stakeholders to implement a national solid waste plan. Mayor Narayan said such a plan will guide the disposal practices of municipalities, neighborhood democratic councils, and village councils in a collaborative approach to ensure safe disposal of waste. He highlighted that as Guyana continues its transformation and development with the oil and gas sector, there will be an increase in waste production from commercial and domestic activities, as well as directly from the oil and gas industry. He continues to raise awareness on the issues of leaching and the contamination of surface water and drains of nearby water sources at the Hagsbosch landfill. Narayan also expressed concern about diseases and other adverse health effects, such as respiratory illnesses and cancers, which studies have shown are linked with exposure to landfill sites.
With 7-1 new infections from HIV/AIDS this year, the government of Guyana said that it is putting measures in place that could see an end to HIV/AIDS here by 2030. This is according to Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony, who was speaking at a World AIDS Day forum on Wednesday at the National AIDS Program Secretariat on Hatfield Street. Among the measures being advanced is the introduction of the pre-exposure prophylaxis, which will reduce the risk of infection in persons who have been exposed to the deadly virus. The Health Ministry will also reinforce sexual education in the school system while encouraging more persons to get tested for the disease, DPI reported.
In all the news, we now tell you that the Ministry of Public Works is yet to set a date for consultations with residents of Nandi Park and surrounding communities on the impacts of the construction of the new Demerara River Bridge. The new bridge, which will replace the decades-old existing two-lane facility, is not expected to cause extensive environmental impacts during its construction, but a number of homes in the area of Nandi Park will have to be acquired by the state, according to the Environmental Protection Agency's screening report. Regional Chairman Daniel Siram explained that he has not yet received a response from the ministry to his November 16th letter, which outlined the region's position on the request for a no objection to be granted for the new bridge. Siram maintained his position that the region will only offer its no objection to the project after residents are consulted.
In other news, the Ministry of Natural Resources has defended its decision to sign away mining lands at Marudi Mountain to a Canadian gold company without consulting with residents there, saying that the new agreement will also allow for small-scale miners in the area to resume operations. According to the ministry, the current agreement is not a new prospecting or mining license. However, there has been small-scale mining in Marudi since in the early 1980s, mostly by Amerindians. The Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat said that many consultations were held on the entire Marudi mining issue, but could not say whether the indigenous people were told that a new company, Auros Mining Inc., was granted a license to prospect the land for gold.
And now time for a COVID-19 update. The Ministry of Health reported yesterday that 3 more persons died from COVID-19 complications, taking the national death toll to 997. According to the ministry, the latest fatalities are that of a fully vaccinated 59-year-old man from Region 4, an 86-year-old man from Region 1, whose vaccination status was unknown, and an 80-year-old unvaccinated woman from Region 6. 77 new cases were recorded, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 37,951. 17 patients are admitted in the ICU, 57 persons in institutional isolation, 1,162 in home isolation, and 2 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 35,718 persons have recovered fully from the virus.
Just before we wrap things up for your news at noon, let's head over to page 7 of the Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. A PNC woman said that Granger is the downfall of the PNCR. We aren't getting into that, but we know something. The PNCR is aiding and abetting the PPP to engineer the downfall of Guyana. The PNCR's silence is contributing to the downfall of Guyana. The PNCR's impotence and absence is helping the PPP to deceive Guyanese. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Thank you for listening.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Because many of them do their private banking here, as does President Obiang.
Obiang controls in excess of 60 accounts at this bank, including the one where oil companies deposit royalty payments. In some